The lingering shadows. Months passed since Sarah's harrowing encounter with the Midnight Caller. Life had settled into a semblance of normalcy, and the haunting memories began to fade. But deep within her, a nagging feeling persisted, a sense that the story was not yet over. Late one night, as Sarah sat alone in her living room, she received an unexpected visitor. A package arrived at her doorstep, wrapped in plain brown paper and tied with a frayed string. Curiosity mixed with trepidation as she opened it, revealing a single cassette tape and a cryptic note. The note read, "Listen carefully. The truth awaits." Intrigued and wary, Sarah dusted off her old cassette player and inserted the tape. As the familiar sound of static filled the room, a voice emerged from the speakers, a voice she thought she would never hear again. It was the Midnight Caller. "Surprised to hear from me, Sarah," the voice sneered. "You thought you could escape, but you were wrong. The game has just begun." Fear gripped Sarah's heart once more, but she steeled herself. She couldn't let the caller regain control over her life. Determined to uncover the truth, she embarked on a quest to decipher the secrets hidden within the tape. Unraveling the puzzle. The cassette tape contained a series of cryptic messages, scattered clues that led Sarah down a twisting path of intrigue and danger. Each message hinted at a hidden truth, a buried secret that someone was desperate to keep hidden. With the help of Mark and a tech-savvy friend named Emma, Sarah decoded the clues and followed the breadcrumbs, uncovering a web of deception that extended far beyond her own personal tormentor. They discovered a powerful conspiracy involving influential individuals who would stop at nothing to protect their secrets. The Midnight Caller had merely been a pawn in their sinister game, used to manipulate and control Sarah's life. As they delved deeper, the threats grew more intense. Sarah and her allies became targets, their lives in constant jeopardy. But they refused to back down. Their pursuit of justice became a fight not just for Sarah's survival, but for the truth to be exposed. A race against time. With each revelation, the pieces of the puzzle fell into place. Sarah and her team raced against time, pursuing leads, evading danger, and unmasking the orchestrators of the conspiracy. They uncovered a hidden network of surveillance, tracing the calls back to a shadowy organization known as the Watchmen. This organization operated in the darkest corners of society, manipulating lives for their own gain. Sarah had unwittingly stumbled into their world, becoming entangled in their web of deceit. As they closed in on the truth, Sarah found herself torn between fear and determination. The threats grew more personal, targeting her loved ones and forcing her to confront the painful memories she had buried deep within her. The final revelation. In a heart-stopping climax, Sarah and her allies confronted the leaders of the Watchmen. It was a battle of wits and wills, as they fought to expose the truth and bring the culprits to justice. With courage and resilience, Sarah confronted the mastermind behind it all, a wealthy and influential figure who had manipulated her life from the shadows. As the truth came to light, the Midnight Caller's true identity was revealed, an innocent victim coerced into playing a terrifying role. Together, Sarah and the Midnight Caller turned ally exposed the depth of the conspiracy, unmasking the corrupt individuals who had orchestrated the torment in Sarah's life. The truth reverberated through society, shaking the foundations of power and exposing the darkness that lurked beneath. Rebuilding and moving forward. In the aftermath of the revelations, Sarah found solace in the knowledge that justice had been served. The Midnight Caller, once a source of fear, had become a beacon of redemption. The experience had transformed both their lives, forging an unlikely bond rooted in shared pain and resilience. With the conspiracy dismantled, Sarah and her loved ones focused on rebuilding their lives. They found strength in one another, forging deeper connections and vowing to protect the truth they had fought so hard to uncover. Sarah became an advocate for victims of manipulation and abuse, using her own story to inspire others and shed light on the dangers lurking beneath the surface. She discovered a newfound purpose in empowering those who had felt silenced and alone. As the years passed, Sarah's life flourished. The scars remained, a constant reminder of the darkness she had faced, but they no longer defined her. She had emerged from the shadows, stronger and more resilient than ever before. And when midnight came, no longer did she dread the ringing of the phone. For she had reclaimed her power, banishing the haunting whispers of the past and embracing the future with hope and determination. The midnight caller had become a distant memory, but the lessons learned would forever shape Sarah's life. She had faced her fears and emerged victorious, a survivor, a fighter, and a symbol of resilience in the face of darkness. The haunting begins. It was a quiet, moonlit night when Sarah Thompson's peaceful existence was shattered by a chilling phone call. The clock on her bedside table read exactly midnight as her cell phone rang, piercing the stillness of her bedroom. Startled, she fumbled for her phone, not recognizing the number on the caller ID. "Hello," she answered tentatively. A low, raspy voice responded, barely audible. "I see you, Sarah. I see everything." Sarah's heart raced, her hands trembling. "Who is this? What do you want?" The voice chuckled softly. "Oh, Sarah, you'll find out soon enough. But for now, let's just say I know all your dirty little secrets. I know about the affair, the lies, and the things you thought you could hide." Sarah's breath caught in her throat. How could this stranger know such intimate details about her life? Panic welled up inside her, but she managed to gather herself. "This is some sick joke, right? Leave me alone." But the voice on the other end of the line didn't relent. "Oh, Sarah, I'm not playing games. I'm watching you, waiting for the right moment to strike. You can't hide from me. Not anymore." With a trembling hand, Sarah ended the call, her mind racing with fear and confusion. Who could be behind these mysterious midnight calls? And how did they know so much about her? She spent a sleepless night, haunted by the words that had been whispered to her. The pursuit of truth. The next day, Sarah's life was consumed by paranoia. Every passing stranger seemed suspicious, and every phone call sent her heart racing. She couldn't shake the feeling of being watched, of being pursued by an unknown enemy. Determined to get to the bottom of the mystery, Sarah contacted the local police. Officer Mark Henderson, a seasoned detective, took a keen interest in her case. He assured her that they would do everything they could to identify the caller and keep her safe. Days turned into weeks, and the midnight calls persisted. The voice grew bolder, revealing more details about Sarah's life that only a select few would know. It was as if the caller had infiltrated her inner circle, observing her every move. Mark tirelessly pursued leads, delving into Sarah's past, questioning her friends, and even monitoring her phone lines. But the caller seemed to be one step ahead, always managing to elude capture. The case began to take a toll on both Sarah and Mark, their lives consumed by the relentless pursuit of the midnight caller. Unmasking the enemy. One night, as Sarah sat alone in her dimly lit living room, the phone rang again. She hesitated for a moment before answering, her voice filled with defiance. "Who are you? What do you want from me?" The voice on the other end of the line was cold and calculated. "You can't hide forever, Sarah. I'm closer than you think. I'm watching you right now." With a surge of adrenaline, Sarah glanced around the room, her eyes scanning the shadows. And then, she saw it, a faint glimmer of light outside her window. She approached cautiously, pulling the curtain aside. What she saw made her blood run cold. Across the street, a figure stood, their face obscured by the darkness. A hooded figure, watching her every move. It was the midnight caller, right there in front of her. In a panic, Sarah called Mark, her voice trembling. "He's outside my house, Mark. Please, you have to help me." Mark arrived swiftly, his police car screeching to a halt in front of Sarah's home. Together, they cautiously approached the figure, ready for anything. But as they got closer, the figure turned and fled, disappearing into the night. Mark gave chase, his footsteps echoing through the empty streets, but the midnight caller was agile, disappearing into the darkness. Confronting the shadows. Determined not to be a victim any longer, Sarah and Mark intensified their efforts to unmask the midnight caller. They pored over evidence, connecting dots, and retracing Sarah's steps. The answer had to be close, she could feel it in her bones. Through tireless investigation, they uncovered a startling revelation. The caller was none other than Michael Turner, Sarah's ex-boyfriend. Michael had always been possessive and controlling, but Sarah never imagined he would take his obsession to such terrifying extremes. With the evidence stacked against him, the police launched a manhunt for Michael, but he proved to be elusive. He seemed to vanish without a trace, leaving behind a trail of fear and destruction. But Sarah was not one to give up easily. She knew she had to confront Michael herself, to put an end to this nightmare once and for all. With Mark's support, she devised a plan to draw Michael out of hiding. The final showdown. Sarah arranged a meeting with Michael in a secluded park, under the pretense of closure and forgiveness. It was a moonlit night, reminiscent of the night the midnight caller first intruded into her life. Sarah's heart raced with a mix of anticipation and fear as she waited for him to arrive. As the minutes ticked by, Sarah's senses heightened. She could feel a presence nearby. And then, emerging from the shadows, Michael appeared, his eyes filled with a deranged mix of obsession and desperation. "You thought you could escape me, Sarah," he hissed, his voice laced with venom. "You belong to me. No one else will have you." Sarah stood her ground, her voice filled with determination. "You don't own me, Michael. You never did. This ends now." A fierce struggle ensued, Sarah fighting for her life against her relentless tormentor. The fight was grueling, both physically and emotionally, but Sarah's will to survive burned brighter than ever. With a surge of strength, Sarah managed to break free from Michael's grip, delivering a blow that sent him sprawling to the ground. The police, who had been lying in wait, swiftly moved in, apprehending Michael and bringing an end to his reign of terror. Reclaiming life. In the aftermath of the final showdown, Sarah slowly began to rebuild her life. The midnight call ceased, replaced by a newfound sense of freedom and security. The scars of her ordeal would forever remain, but she refused to let them define her. With the support of her loved ones, including Mark, who had become more than just a detective in her life, Sarah embarked on a journey of healing and self-discovery. She learned to trust again, to embrace the future with open arms. The midnight caller had been a dark chapter in Sarah's life, but it had also been a catalyst for change. Through her resilience and unwavering spirit, she emerged stronger, determined to face any challenges that lay ahead. And as the clock struck midnight on a clear, peaceful night, Sarah gazed out her window, knowing that she was finally free from the haunting whispers of the past.